Greetings, this is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct from Black Facts Headquarters Central. Yes, well, as you might have noted, I took a little hiatus there for a couple days, it seemed like. Just had to try to rejigger a few things over here in order to be able to make it through the rest of this month in some kind of shape without actually ending up in the hospital or somewhere like that, because health is the wealth. So we always have to be mindful of our health. And I just have to work something out for when, if anything were to happen and I could not be here, what should I put up in place of my regular live streams? That's something I hadn't really considered, because when I first started doing this, like I told you in the beginning, I didn't know how long it was going to last. I thought maybe it would be a few weeks, a couple months maybe at best. But who knew that the United States would have this much problem dealing with a silly little virus? Okay? Who knew it would take all this? But in the meanwhile, I was able to really put together some nice selections for the rest of the month. Particularly this weekend, we've got some stuff coming up that I know you'll enjoy, that we'll be putting up on our playlist. And we also have been able to figure out exactly who we're going to feature for the rest of the month. And we've got some good ones that we're going to feature. But tonight, we're going to deviate a little bit off of our usual program to some extent. And we're going to tell the story of Matthew Henson. Now, we've told the story of Matthew Henson before, but this time you're going to be able to see what's in the book if you are watching on YouTube. So those of you who are watching on Facebook, that's fine. But if you switch over to our Tubular Black Facts channel, you'll be able to see the images that you're not going to see on Facebook, at least not at this time. Later on, I will share what we do on YouTube onto Facebook, so you can see it over there as well. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, let's do this little dance. First and foremost, you know what we need you to do. If you're watching on Facebook, give us a like. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. And then go ahead and spread the word far and wide, high and low, all around, wherever you go, about what we do here on Black Facts. We're at over 700 live streams within the last year, a little more than a year and a half. We've done over 700 live streams. That really was a phenomenal feat just to accomplish that, because I had no inkling that we were going to do anything like that when I first started this out. Now for our saying for the day. Saying for the day. Seek and ye shall find. When the teacher is ready, the master will appear. When the student is ready, when the student is ready, the master will appear. So that's two sayings for you. Seek and ye shall find. And when the student is ready, the master will appear. So right now, if you're seeing me, I guess you're ready to be a student too. What can I say? I hope that don't make you feel really blue or kind of through. In Washington, a kind lady takes Matt in and cares for him. Born in Charles County, Maryland, on August 8, 1866, 3 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, Matthew Henson was orphaned and ran away from an unkind stepmother. He walked in the cold of winter without shoes all the way to Washington, D.C. That's right, child. Eat up. There's plenty more. Can you wash dishes, Matt? Yes'm. Can cut wood and carry water too. Then you have a job. During the months that Matt worked in Miss Janie's lunchroom, he loved to hear the stories of high adventure told by one of the customers who had been a sailor. That's the life for me. And the small waves were at least 30 feet high, Man, that sure is exciting. Aunt Janie, I want to be a sailor. Well, Matt, it won't be easy, but I wish you the best. So Matt set out to walk from Washington to Baltimore, where he heard there were big ships. Wow, that sure is a nice ship. I'm Captain Childs of the good ship Katie Hines. So you want to go to sea, do you, lad? Yes, sir, I do. Won't your mother and father worry about you? No, sir. My parents are dead. He surely is a brave and determined young lad. Mr. Tracy, meet my new cabin boy, Matthew Alexander Henson. On the Katie Hines, Matt climbed the rigging, learning every sailor's knot, and mastered the carpenter's tools and peeled potatoes. But each night, the kindly captain gave Matt lessons. Soon Matt learned to read and write. For the next 5 years, Matthew Henson sailed on the Katie Hines, becoming an able-bodied seaman. He visited exciting foreign ports: Hong Kong, Russia, Africa, West Indies, Spain, and Japan. When the captain died in 1883, Matt left the Katie Hines. On shore, Matt worked at some of the only jobs open to black men at that time: bellhop, stevedore, and watchman. Matt returned to Washington and got a job as stock clerk at Steinmetz and Sons, hatters and furriers. Matt, bring in a size 7.5 sun helmet. They're on the shelf above the Panamas. Yes, sir. Here's the boy I was telling you about, Lieutenant. My name is Perry. I need a valet to go with me to Central America. Well, do you want the job? I sure don't want to be nobody's valet, Matt thinks. What are you going to do in Central America? Perry explained he had to do a survey for a proposed canal to join the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean. As a seaman, Matthew Henson could appreciate its importance, and the adventurer's blood in him led him to say, "Yes, I'll take the job." These words, spoken in 1887, began the 23-year association of Perry and Henson. For the next year, Henson helped Perry hack through the jungles of Nicaragua. After returning to the States in 1888, Henson got a job in Perry's office at the Navy Yard in Philadelphia. Matt, I propose to explore the north of Greenland. No one's ever done that before. Will you come with me? Me, sir? What will I do there? I'm not a scientist. And that's why I said this one is taking us off track a little bit. You may not be a scientist, but you've proven yourself to be strong, intelligent, and resourceful. I need a good man like you. A little later, a Lieutenant Skeptic stops by. Ha ha ha! Say, Henson, I hear you're going to Greenland. You're a Negro. That cold climate will kill you. Oh, I don't know about that, Lieutenant. Henson, I'll bet you $100 that you don't come back with all your fingers and toes. You got yourself a bet. The Perry party reached Greenland and soon found itself amidst the gigantic icebergs, some towering 20 stories high above their ship, the Kite. Perry was on deck as the Kite was ramming her way through the ice when a large iceberg struck the rudder, jamming the wheel, causing the iron tiller to strike Perry, breaking his leg. Matt went to work and made a box-like cast to hold the broken leg. There, that ought to do it. Thanks, Matt. Matthew Henson built a house for the group on Greenland, almost single-handedly, as he was the only one with the necessary skills. Then he built sleds designed to carry 800 pounds, drilling holes in the oak runners and tying them with walrus hide. Soon, Perry, Henson, and the group were joined by a family of Eskimos. By Henson, they thought that Matt was an Eskimo too because of his brown skin. Ain't that something? Inuit? And they start speaking Inuit to him. And Inuit is the name that the Eskimos call themselves. Miapaluk. Miapaluk, the name the Eskimos gave Matt Henson. Matt and the Eskimos became fast friends. Henson learned to speak Eskimo fluently and acquired the many skills needed to survive in the icy north. Now, they already said the people are Inuit, so obviously you wouldn't want to call the language Eskimo, but actually it would probably be more appropriate to call it Inuit. And there goes Matt on the sledge. Hup, hup. He's cracking that whip over the heads of those husky dogs. Henson soon learned to handle a team of dogs as well as the Eskimos could. Hook, hook. The Eskimo words are used to make the dog teams run. Matt learned to build igloos and hunt the mighty walrus for food. Perry's leg healed that winter, and in the spring, he crossed the northern rim of Greenland, proving that it was indeed an island. With this victory, the Perry party returned to New York. Perry vowed to return and reach the North Pole. Back in the States, Perry gave lectures on their Arctic experiences to raise money for further explorations. Matthew Henson electrified audiences by coming on stage in furs, complete with sled and Eskimo dogs. Ladies and gentlemen, my assistant, Matthew Henson. Will you look at Henson? He handles those dogs like an Eskimo. Is he one of them? Did you hear he called Henson his assistant? Yes, but the newspapers called Henson only a servant. How about that? After a performance, let's say that's Lieutenant Skeptic over there. I think I'll show him I've got all my fingers and toes. Matt, I never thought you had a chance to win this, but after hearing what you went through, I'd say you sure earned it. Returning to the north, the Perry party faced terrible Arctic storms, which sent some of the sleds crashing down glaciers. Most of the men were snow blinded and crippled. With frozen hands and feet, the group had to turn back to camp. Perry was very despondent. Matt, I don't know how we can go on, the men are in bad shape. Well, Lieutenant, I'm willing to stay for another winter and try again. When the supply ship Falcon came in August, every man left except Perry, Lee, and Henson. Once, as Perry, Henson, and the Eskimo Analka were traveling across a sea of snow, the surface suddenly gave way beneath Henson's feet. Whoosh! Henson had fallen into a deep crevasse in the snow. A small outcropping of ice in the pit halted his fall. Any wrong move would plunge him into an icy grave forever. He remained calm and planned how to get out. He dug his hands and feet into the sides of the crevasse, slowly inching his way to the small patch of light that meant life. Perry and Analka arrived just as Henson was emerging. My God, I'm glad to see you're alive. I thought you were a goner for sure. We'd better stick closer together. What would I do next spring if I lost you? Yeah, he should be thinking about that. What would he do? Okay, now we reached the halfway point in this book. So we're going to stop right there and we'll return to this story tomorrow and finish this up tomorrow. And in the meantime, hopefully I can figure out what my hotkey codes were so that I can go ahead and be able to do this a little bit better tomorrow than I did today. So in time, good things come in time. Okay, good things come in time. They might not always come on time, but they will come in time or over time. And that is our presentation for tonight. We will be signing off here right after we wish all the little children out there a good night when they put their little head on their little pillow, close those your eyes and wait on that sun to rise. Waiting on a new day to dawn. Because when it does, everything's going to be on like Vaughn when that new day starts to dawn. So go ahead and get your rest tonight. so you can have a good day tomorrow. I will try to do the same and get me more rest than I've been getting as well. Because without sleep, we're all in trouble. Trust and believe that. Meanwhile, for all you adults out there, you know what you need to do. It's a little bit past the beginning of the month. We're coming up on September 11. Here in just a few hours, it'll be September 11, and Ethiopian New Year. So let me say to all my friends and family out there, Happy New Year, or Nkutatash. Okay, I don't know how to say Happy Nkutatash, but Nkutatash is what's coming. That's what we call Ethiopian New Year. Happens every year on September 11. And we'll talk about why that is in a later presentation, much later. Meanwhile, have a good night. Peace with justice, because anything less disgusts us. And let me say good night to, who is that out there? Looks like Shaka Maharani Abena Nuit. I believe I got that right. Or maybe it's Shakila. No, that's Shakila. All right, Shakila. Peace out now. We will be back tomorrow at our regular time, 12 noon, with some really good stories to tell about African American scientists, inventors, and scientists, inventors, and something else. I forgot the third one. Scientists, inventors. Yep, can't think of what the third one is. There's three. But scientists and inventors. It's good enough for now. See you then.